We just see legs, and here you walk in, and then that's the tilt up.
Got it. Jeff and Carmen, this is tight. Roll 2, take 1.
And action. On the Charge Foundation website for
Jeff
your
Dialogue
chance to win
Cowboy,
my very own
take 2, roll
Corvette.
2.
Win my very own Corvette.
And action.
You can be the
Come on, Carl.
Jeff Gordon, Jim Perkins, take 1.
Quiet, please.
Action.
Jim. Thank you so much for being
Hey,
here.
great, Jeff. I appreciate your invitation to come out and talk about this beautiful piece.
Well, I can't think of a better person that has more history with a car than you, and I can't wait to hear what you think about this new 2014 Stingray.
I just can't imagine that you would pick a finer car for the Jeff Gordon Children's Foundation than this car. It ought to be off the charts. The amazing thing about this car, as you think about it, and over the years that I've been dealing with Corvette, starting from '53, is that if you were talking to most American manufacturers, or maybe worldwide manufacturers today of automobiles, they would call this car revolutionary in not only form, the design, but also the function.
Right.
Because in most cases, as when a critic of art or critic of sculpture looks at anything, they talk about the form not having function. Well, that belies that here, because it's form and function. Virtually, this car was built to have everything be functional in a sense, the way the car drives, the way the car handles, the way it performs.
Well, I can certainly attest to that because I've had the opportunity to drive this car several times. And not only does it look great, but boy, when you get behind the wheel, it's amazing to me how far advanced Corvettes have come over the years. It just does so many things for you to just get the most out of the car, and drives great, sounds great. What a fun car. Give us maybe one. I know Corvette enthusiasts, they're just passionate. They're passionate about the Corvette. Why are they so passionate?
Well, number one, it's an American icon. The Corvette's built in America, Bowling Green, Kentucky. Has its own museum, the only car in America that has its own museum, and it's right across the road from the plant. So, and an engine build situation there, so you can go build your own engine now. But beyond that, Corvette people don't like huge changes. And some of that's because people keep cars 20, 30 years, and they don't want the next car to outdate them so badly that they can't live with it. And when you consider this design, this car, you have to go back in history and in time and think about the evolution of Corvette rather than a revolutionary design, an evolutionary design.
Right.
I look at this car today, and I still see a lot of what happened in the 60s with the mid-year cars. 63 split windows. This car is very wedgy. It's angular. Has the coupe has a very sharp top, tapered top. Mm-hmm. This car, beautiful with this convertible off it with the broad shoulders, would remind you so much of what you saw in those years, which were the iconic years for Corvette coming out of the C1, C2 years. Right. They were called mid-years. And this car, being a Stingray, and it's very appropriate they brought back the name Stingray.
I love that they brought back the Stingray.
Yeah, that's what it should be. And when I talked about evolutionary versus revolutionary design, what they've done with this car is no different than this beautiful nose design takes in air from the front grille, exhausts it through the front fenders. And so you reduce the amount of lift when you're driving at speed. You take the pressure from under a hood and exhaust it through here. And as you go through the car, you see things like that that just tell you that there was a lot of thought put into this.
And a lot of racing engineering.
Yeah.
All right, so I got to ask you, what if you could pick one thing that you just think is so cool about this car? What would that one thing be?
God,
I know it's hard to pick one.
That's a lot of pressure, man. I don't know. I'd say I'm a power guy. And the fact that you've got this new LT1 engine, it's 455 horsepower, 460 foot-pounds of torque. And with the tuned exhaust that you can get, you can move it up another 5 horsepower or so and you get 5 more pounds of torque. From my way of thinking, the pushrod engine, came along in 1955. And you think about it. It's still a push rod engine. It has evolved. It's like I talk about the evolution of the design.
Right.
The push rod engine has evolved. And then couple that with a 7-speed manual transmission, and you know, you've got what I consider to be the making of a Corvette.
Yeah, no, you're right.
455 horsepower, direct injection.
Well, Jim, one of the things that, from a driver's standpoint, that I love about this car when I got behind the wheel was when I went into the corner. You expect a street car, even a great Corvette, when you go into the corner for it to roll. It's just kind of standard. Well, not in this car. I was so amazed with the dampening and the way that they in our roll bars and the shocks, and the springs, and how they keep the car so flat, which is something we try to do a lot with the race cars, that just keeps a great platform in the car, which ultimately creates more cornering speed.
I understand that. And it really all starts in the Corvette with body rigidity. And the way you get to structural rigidity or body rigidity, whichever way you want to put it, it starts with the structure of the car, the platform. And this car, of course, is backbone and pod down the center, but on top of that, it has an aluminum frame, which is considerably lighter than you've had before in other Corvettes up to the C6. This one, however, the beauty of the aluminum frame is it's 57% stronger than a steel frame in the C6. So you add all that structural rigidity to the car, and then of course you've got the suspension tune. And if you've got the Z51 option, you get the magnetic ride, which makes a huge difference in the damping of the car and the jounce in the car. So all of that leads to this. But overall, when you look at this car and understand where it comes from, it originates with the structure of the car. And that was one of the key drivers in when they built this car. Take weight out, number one. But then beyond that, and you driving a race car know better than anybody, I hear it all the time, balance, balance, balance. This car is balanced 50-50, front to rear. And you know, you add that to the structural rigidity in the car, even though you gained a little weight, not much. And the reality is a 3,300-pound car that drives like a sports car should drive. You know.
No, you're absolutely right, and that's what it feels like when you're driving. It's amazing, you know, the balance and how neutral the car is through the corners, which maybe, you know, have taken a Corvette or two on a track to see what it can do, and this car gets it done. So that's a lot of fun.
I think this car probably is a world apart from some of the previous cars that were very, very good. And the reality of that is that, and I have to believe, when we did the C5, which two generations back, we went to hydroform rails on that car, which were steel rails, and it added immensely to the rigidity. You could take it over out of the durability course in Mesa, Arizona, the one that we did, and one of the big issues that you always had with Corvette was what we call memory shake. You'd go over the jounce and Belgian blocks, and then you'd just set up and keep going. We found out immediately when we did the hydroform rails and stiffen the car up, you get rid of that. Well, this takes it a step beyond that. This is stronger, lighter, and the car's better balanced.
Yeah, and you know, in racing, you go over a bump, and you want that car to recover as fast as possible to get full
Take
traction.
A set.
And this car does that.
Well, it's just an amazing automobile, and the thing that always, I go back to the form and function thing, the thing that always gets me is just the little touches. One of the biggest complaints I read about was Corvette always had round taillights, remember?
Right, yes.
Well, they went to the parallelogram, and people scratched their head, why'd you do that? It's messed the car up. It doesn't look like a Corvette. But inside that, you have the heat exchangers in the back that take the heat off the transmission, take the heat off the differential, exhaust them through vent ports by the taillights.
Really?
And it picks up the air right here in the rear, and right to the inside the rear fender, and takes it out. Takes it through two heat exchangers in the back and exhausts it at the taillights.
Oh, that's extremely efficient. So it's a great feature.
I think if there was ever a point where Corvette was criticized in the past, it was always the interior. It was a situation where the interior was too soft. It wasn't elaborate enough for a Corvette, for a race car.
I love the interior. I mean, the carbon fiber feature, the quality of the leather and the stitching. Yeah, you're not going to get any complaints out of the interior on this
You probably
car.
love the competition sports seats too.
I do like the competition sports seats. I think they're really sharp, and certainly when you're cornering as fast as this car can corner. They hold you in there.
Well, you have two options in the Corvette. Then the sport seats are available at a slight charge, but they're very inexpensive compared to the regular seat.
Right.
And it's worth it when you order a Z51, and this is a Z51. I take it, yeah.
And and the dash too. What I love all the new gadgets and electronics, and there's so many different features on the dash. That different modes where you can go into just regular driving, racing mode.
It's got 5 different modes you can go to.
And on each of those modes, you're getting a different display that is bringing more life to the car and making you feel like, hey, all right, I'm just going to cruise down the highway here. The dash resembles that, but when you're ready to go to the racetrack, then you go into that mode and makes you feel like you're a race car driver.
That's the thing. Another thing that you look at and think about, this car in what's considered normal mode, driving mode, not being in eco mode. In eco mode, you shift from a 6.2 liter to a 3.1 liter in cruising range.
Great fuel efficiency.
You're talking about 28 to 30 miles a gallon and 17 in the city, which for a car like this, are you kidding me? Those kind of touches you don't find ordinarily in any automobile that's in this price range.
Right. And that's what I've always loved so much about the Corvette is what you get for what you pay is going to blow away the competition. I mean, this car, if you just blind tested, put people in it and said, drive this car, you're going to think that this is one of the highest in luxury sports cars, and yet it's very reasonably priced and looks great at the same time. And so to me, I love what they've done with this car. This Stingray is an amazing car.
I think it's one reason it's such an American icon, because it represents the best of America. And I've heard it said that any company that can build this can build the best of anything. And I think that's true, but there's so much passion in the workforce that builds this car. And passion among the guys at design staff or engineering, or all the guys I ever worked with. You could put them on anything else, but then you assign them to a Corvette and they become Superman. It's just the way it works.
I guess so. Well, for good reason. Well, we can't thank you enough. I mean, this has been amazing, and like I said, I can't think of a better person to share their stories and insight to this amazing new car than the guy that's played a big role in the history of Corvette over the years. It's
been, I've had the opportunity to do a lot of things in the business, and work on a lot of phenomenal projects and do a lot of things that, some people never get the opportunity or not blessed to be able to do. And I would say being a big part of the Corvette and keeping the Corvette alive when it was about to go under in 1990, 1991, 2, 3, when we were General Motors in very difficult times. But being able to keep it front and center and build it and get it done for the C5, which actually enabled the C6 and this car. Had it not been for the C5, these cars would have never been done.
Well, then we have you to thank for not only Corvette being alive, but it's thriving.
Believe me, Jeff, you think the customers that buy them, the people who are loyal to them, and you think all the guys and gals, and I had a team working with me that was just committed to, like you and Abraham always were, refuse to lose.
Yep, that's right. Well, Jim, I'm excited because somebody who's passionate about helping kids and who's passionate about Corvettes is going to win this car and do something for a great cause. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And I'll go on record to say I'll buy the first ticket.
All right. You're on. Right. You got it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff.
Corvette Stingray. V8, 6-speed paddle shifter. Sweet. Yours?
Yeah, well, for now. But you know what the best feature is?
What's that?
It's going to help children fight cancer.
Awesome.
Childhood is a time for big dreams, but for many, it can be cut short if they're fighting cancer. You can be the key to their success. Visit the Jeff Gordon Children's Foundation website for your chance to win my very own Corvette. Let's make their dreams of living without cancer a reality.